I get it. Y'all want to hear about the big story right off the bat. I'm going to preface this by saying I don't know any more than you do, but I'm going to give you all of my thoughts on it later in the show. All right. At least I don't think I know any more than you do. So I'll give you what insight I have, which is not much. That said, happy Monday and happy week to all. I see a bunch of you in here. I see Jim Largo, Bjorn Jorgensen, Jason Garcia, Ian Sweeney, Boba Hicks, Tim Hayes, and did I say Ian Sweeney already? I did? Okay, good. All right, we're all good. Okay. So, first and foremost, I'm going to hop right into a few reveals. I'm going to show you only two things that I got recently. Those of you that know they have packages of the thing, I still haven't gone for a lot of reasons. But I'm going to hop right in, hoping everyone had a great weekend. You might notice a slight rearrange on the shelf. That's because that actually happened. Just wanted to rearrange it so it looked a little bit different. That's all. So, just trying to get some of the big questions out of the way, right? So, let's talk about the NECA Store SDCC San Diego Comic-Con exclusives. They're not even on the site anymore. They went on sale on Friday morning, and they're gone. They're just gone. And the reason I bring this up is because I find it kind of weird that if they're sold out, that they're not even showing them on the site at all. Like, it's a little weird. They're like, nope, there's nothing here, nothing. There's nothing to see here. And I thought it was really in poor taste, because I want to talk about those some more. However, they're just not there. They're not there, and if they're not there, there's nowhere to get them, except for resellers, and I don't really report on resellers at all. So, I think it's just weird to me. I thought it was something worth talking about ever so briefly. I'm not sure if it's a good thing or a bad thing in the sense that, like, at least I'm not giving anybody false hope, but when you release exclusives and less than a week later that you can't even see a picture of them on the site they're supposed to be sold from, that just seems odd to me. It seems very odd. So, a couple announcements here. Super 7 is putting out Ultimates for the Godzilla series. They're doing a 95 one, the Burning Godzilla, which is quite nice. I don't know how I feel about that price, and also not coming out to the third quarter of next year. Not sure what else to say about that. I thought it was interesting. It's a lot of money, and it's a Super 7 figure, and yeah. Not to be outdone, there's an Ultimates Mechagodzilla 2 from the same era, same price, but he's looking pretty posh there. Right? He's got some cool add-ons and gimmicks and things. Probably one of the best Mechagodzillas I've ever seen. And they do look really nice next to each other. Now, if the $84.99 was the price for both figures, I would be in on that. But that isn't. It's kind of crazy, but as a Godzilla fan, I can't not talk about this stuff. Kieran Ball commenting on the NECA exclusives is probably because they fell apart. Not wrong, sir. Not wrong. Not wrong at all. The Mechagodzilla does look cool. But again, is it $85 US cool? I don't think so. I don't. It's it's difficult. It's very difficult for me to be excited about these because I don't understand why Godzilla figures have to be so damn expensive in general. Like, they've been hard to get a hold of for years, and even when they weren't expensive, just finding them in the wild is pretty hard to do. And if you're not already dyed in the wool with online collecting and everything else, like, basically, I bring these up to talk about, like, pre-order culture a little bit, just ever so briefly. I have zero faith in walking into a store, picking something up off the shelf, and walking out the door with it if it relates to gaming or toys. Zero confidence. And some of my very best memories are of doing just that. And it drives me up a wall that to get something that's halfway decent, you got to pay that premium of a price and wait a year and a half. Like, I can't, it really bothers me. I don't have any faith in walking out with something, so I just don't even go. I just don't go. Jason Garcia says, considering I paid $150 for my your SH Monster Arts Mechagodzilla 2, price isn't bad, but I may pass on it. Don't know yet. I mean, if you've already got a monster, if you already got a Monster Art one, why would you bother? Like those are great figures. I don't know why you'd want to double dip on something like that. I don't. But I also get it. I also get it. Especially when I talk about something that's going to come up a little bit later. Not a whole lot later, just a little bit later. Ian Sweeney asks, does anyone know if there's another MonsterVerse movie in the works? It's rumored. I haven't seen any confirmations yet, but when I find out for sure, I will let you know. Welcome to the stream, Will. Kieran says, the orange on Godzilla looks like he's ready for MC Hammer's Hammer Time. He's ready to do something. Garcia says, there's an Apple Plus show. You know what? I did hear about that. And rumors for another MonsterVerse movie. Gojatron, $85. Ha ha ha! No. Yeah, I'm the same way, brother. Same way. He says, Jason Garcia has no control when it comes to two things, Batman and Godzilla. I understand. I really do. For me, it's Spidey and Godzilla for the most part. But Spidey, I have less control than I do with Godzilla. Because Godzilla, I've always been able to, stay back from it because it is so expensive. And I like having a wide range of stuff, right? Rather than just focusing on one or two characters and just getting everything. But I kind of dip in both sides of that scale on different things depending upon who you talk to. So that is a whole shenanigans. Speaking of shenanigans, there's two Obi-Wan Kenobi Black Series figures that are out there related to the Obi-Wan series itself. And this is the Target exclusive one that's already sold out on pre-orders. Again, was up just a few days ago. And it's a very specific costume from a certain point in the show. It looks cool, and it does have soft goods, which is good. But I don't understand why it's exclusive. And the one that they have that's up there for pre-order everywhere else is just kind of a standard Obi-Wan, cloak or whatever. But again, can't even get it. Now, when it comes to exclusives, I would be a lot more forgiving of the practice if they were more readily available. And like Bjorn's saying, sometimes those exclusives are more desirable than the other, and I think that's behind the business practice of it for sure. But I'm not happy about it. Now, normally this is the part where I would say that I don't collect Star Wars Black Series. Well, I have told you guys in the past that I did pre-order the Black Series retro card of George Lucas and Stormtrooper gear. That's still true. I have also pre-ordered another Star Wars Black Series figure. This one. The 6-inch Darth Vader from Obi-Wan, which is kind of a blend between A New Hope and the Episode 3 version. So it's right in the middle from everything that I can see. I think it's a great looking figure. I'm a big fan of Darth Vader. I already have one in my vintage collection. And, this is one of those characters that I said, well, if I can't get that one at a decent price, there's no point in ever collecting Black Series. Well, being able to pre-order this one at a good price at retail. I was like, all right. And I did pre-order some of the what is it they're calling those? I'll just find the listing and show you what I mean. Black Series. Oh, Archive Collection. That's what it is. All right. So they've got a bunch of these in the Archive Collection, but they have a particular bundle that was appealing to me, if I recall. No. Okay. So what drew me to the Archive Collection stuff was Tarkin, because he's woefully underrepresented in the toy range, and it's a pretty cool figure. Now, with Black Series, I'm going to be very cherry picky. Okay. I want specific characters from specific eras, and that's that. I'm not going after a theme. I'm going after the figures and characters that I like Palpatine and 3PO and R2D2. Like, they have a solo on here, but it's Force Awakens. But the Chewbacca is New Hope, so I'll be going with that. But it's going to be pick and choose, and I'm going to keep myself limited to one of each character. Find the version I like the best, grab that one, and move on. So really honing down, because I tried to be very honest with myself, and I said, this is the same thing that you went down with Marvel Legends, where I started with Stan Lee, then I had to get a Spider-Man, and then it just kind of rickrolled myself from there, right? So I'm even going to be even more focused than I am with the vintage collection stuff, meaning Bespin. And, for me, I just want a nice collection of original trilogy characters with one or two others, smattered in there. Like, I want the Bill Burr character from Mandalorian, just because it's Bill Burr. I love that guy. Love all of his stuff. Everything he's ever done. Love it to death. But folks are saying that they like the new version of the Darth Vader suit. And Jason Garcia, enabling me, says, well, it's Vader. You got to have at least one. Fair enough. It's like, Vader looks weird with arms. A little retro blasting joke for everybody. And Bjorn has the original Tarkin they put out. The newer one's more rosy. Yeah, fair enough. It is a good head sculpt, Kieran Ball. It is a very good head sculpt. And that's a big part of what made me decide to go ahead and pull the trigger on that one. Ian Sweeney says, it's a nice Vader, and is scarily cheaper than the pre-order price of a vintage collection Dark Trooper. I know. It's a weird thing. I appreciate that, Bjorn. I will let you know when I figure it out, because this was something just like that last 36 hours or so, where I just said, you know what? I'm going to put them on pre-order and see what happens, right? I might get them in hand and say, these are stupid, and turn around and sell them. I don't know. Just once you pop, you can't stop like Pringles. I'm trying not to, dude. Trying not to. Will says, Hasbro's doing a 40% off sale when you spend $75. Got the Cantina some retro 3.7 figs. That's awesome. And I think it's a worthwhile sale. I saw it. I've got the emails to prove it. But money is unbelievably tight right now. So when things are pre-order or like months away or a year or more away, I don't have a problem putting it down. But it's something where I don't have the capital. I just don't. And I have to be okay with that. And that's something I've come to terms with in the last 2 weeks, because Retropalooza really, really cleaned me out. Just for the money spent on doing things. And I need to pull back a little bit and kind of survey my kingdom as it is, and regard pre-orders. I got to slow down on the pre-orders and things like that. In fact, a good phrase to describe the haul for today is, today's bountiful meal represents the last of the petty cash, meaning, ooh, that's a good idea to get something right now. I'm going to get it. That's pretty much where my head's at. Ben, welcome to the show. You're a few minutes late, but don't worry. Don't worry. Don't worry at all. You're okay. Bjorn pre-ordered some Dread figures. There you go. There you go. So, something that came out this morning that was interesting to me. And these pictures are courtesy of Pixel Dan. So thank you to Dan for covering this morning. I didn't see anyone else covering it first, so it might be not a timed exclusive or anything, but this is where we got it from. Some new retro Marvel Legends 3.5 inch, 3 3/4 scale figures, and the first one's a Moon Knight, and that's a beautiful, 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 beautiful Moon Knight. And there's a few other figures in the wave. There's a Nova, which, hey, it's a Nova. He looks good. It's cool. An Amazing Fantasy 15 Spider-Man. Note the web wings, which is sought after. And he is the true red and black with the blue spider on the back per Amazing Fantasy 15. So it's very accurate. And yes, as soon as these go for pre-order, yes, I'm getting one. It'll be the only 3 3/4 scale Marvel Legends retro figure I'm probably going to own. Because I made the decision back when I said I'm going to get one line or the other when it comes to Marvel Legends, because otherwise I would just be getting a crap ton of figures. And because they don't scale well with much else, this is one I'm going to buy. I'm going to leave it on the card. I'm going to display it just because it's a Ditko Spidey. It's the only reason I'm getting this. He says, "Oh, hello there. Yes, pretty cool figures, right? Aren't they great? They're really cool." And it's something where, and Joe Becky right there. If I was collecting these, you'd be all over it. Practiced restraint. Exactly. Me right now, this figure, I gotta have it because it's a Ditko Spidey in that scale. I don't have any. The articulation on these is crap, which is good in the sense that I don't need two. I need one. Just leave it in the card, put it up on the shelf. Regarding them much in the way I do a lot of the reaction figures. And reaction was something that, matter of fact, Pixel Dan was the first person that even ever showed me one of these. This is over 2 years ago. First time I met him in person, actually. And he had a couple of the alien ones from the first movie. I'm like, what? And he explained to me, what the whole line was about and everything. And I remember going, is this what they go for? He says, pretty much, because he was more or less pricing them at retail. He was just trying to offload them. Some stuff under retail, because he's just that kind of dude. And I remember saying at the time, if they're really snapping up all these movie property, it would be very easy to go Funko Pop with this stuff and just buy everything that tickled my fancy and just have them sit there, because, as many have said in our community, the card and the packaging are just as much a part of the experience as the figure itself, especially with something that looks like this. Full nostalgia bait, right? So that's part of what led to my decision with Marvel Legends to collect the 6-inch line, because those I can justify taking out of the box. I'd have more fun with them, and they're equally toys as much as they are collectibles, and they'd be more fun, because something like this, I'm destined to keep it in the package. I might get two just to have one out like on the desk, but it's not something where I don't have any desire to get the rest out of the line. That Moon Knight looks amazing, but I'm not collecting this line. I can't do it. Even though in the long run it tends to be cheaper than Marvel Legends, like the full-size ones. But I just can't do it. If they scaled with Superpowers collection, it'd be over. It'd be over. And they also have a Firestar in the line, which makes it really hard not to want to collect these, just to get the three, like Spidey, Firestar, Iceman. But I'm not doing it. I am not doing that. for my own sanity, right? Um, it's kind of crazy to think about. And I bring all these up, especially with the retro legends and the Black series, to kind of say that you're collecting rules will bend, break, reverse. There's all kinds of stuff that happens. Um, so yeah, I'm kind of changing, going back on some stuff I said a year ago, or even just a few weeks ago. Um, but the market kind of shows um, that when there's good stuff in the market, people will put the money up, even if they're not going into everything, right? Stephen S. says, no more plastic. I thought no more plastic. Yeah, me too. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with all this stuff. And I think that um, we will see, right? Joe Becky got a Planet of the Apes, a lot of 3-carded figures, 1 deluxe for a decent price if anyone's interested. From the reaction line, I take it. Kieran Ball says, if I were to buy an Amazing Fantasy Spider-Man, it'd be the 6-inch Marvel Legends. You just don't like 3.75. Fair enough. Joe Becky says, Entertainment Earth has a 4-figure Super 7 Planet of the Apes slot if anyone's interested. Ooh, interesting. The Firestar does look great. Bjorn asks if there's going to be a Spider-Man and Amazing Friends set. I doubt it. They're not that smart. Goji Tron, of course. Firestar! Yes! Me too. I said the same thing, and then I said, that's awesome, but I'm not getting her. I just can't. I can't justify it. Can't justify it. Tim Hayes, however, is getting Firestar, has a Spidey and an Iceman in that scale, so now he needs Firestar. And that's totally cool. But it's not a good starting point for me. And Tim also saying that he believes that Hasbro got too much backlash. Well, I don't know about that, because a lot of this stuff was already well in development before that announcement was made. And I don't think they're going to backtrack on the packaging. And this is a timed thing, so I don't really know if they're going to go all the way with this quickly. I think by the end of the year, you're going to start seeing everything without the plastic. So, asks if Firestar is really happening. Yeah, it was officially announced this morning, and Dan had guys from Hasbro on his channel talking about these figures from their end. They had them right in hand, and an official announcement. So yeah, it's really happening. Ian Sweeney says, Star Wars Retro Collection 40% price increase for the next wave. Whew. That's the point where you're saying no more. I don't blame you. That's a lot of extra money to pay. A lot. It's crazy. And Bjorn is also saying that Lego is hiking up their prices on sets as well. And that's unfortunately the nature of the beast at this time, because inflation is happening all over the world, and I don't like it. I don't agree with it. I don't claim to understand it, but I think that that's part of what we're seeing. No, I understand, Tim. If you go to Pixel Dan's channel, he did a video interview, like over Zoom, with a bunch of the guys from the Marvel Legends, and they had the characters in hand. They had them in hand. So they had them in hand. So that's an official thing. It is definitely happening. They said that these would go up for pre-order tomorrow, and they'll probably be out in the marketplace by the end of the year. Bjorn with a good point. So yet Hot Wheels stays under $1. Could simply be a matter of the metal being cheaper. I don't see why that would be the case, but it's possible. Weirder things have happened. So my resolution is getting blurry because my signal is pretty low today. So I apologize for that. Nothing I can do about it until it comes back. So even though I have a strong antenna signal to my internet, we've had a lot of storms lately, and that's affecting things. And I am not happy about it, but there's nothing I can do about it. But it's not you, it's me. It's definitely a me problem. We've had storms on and off for the last week or so, and That's always bad for a cellular style connection, because I have a 5G modem in my place, and on the same token, the wireless that we have here that's built into the place is more susceptible to storms than even this. So it's a whole thing. So I apologize for that. I don't mean for it to be so blurry. I am going to wait until the signal gets a little bit stronger, until I show off my hauls, or the main topic of today's discussion as well. So we'll keep talking. Gojastron says, Hot Wheels produces in much greater volume than action figures, and they repaint molds like crazy, which is a good reason why they are maintaining their costs. And I think that there's not a ton of engineering that has to go into those. You cast the body, you put wheels on it, you paint it, that's it. We're not talking about making molds for unique plastic figures and the painting and all this stuff. So from top to bottom, back to front, it's just a simpler proposition for Hot Wheels and the like to exist, which is a good thing in as much as, for as long as I've been alive, those have been in stores, and it's nice that there's still something that adheres to the old model and kind of sticks with what they know. Saying that my stream looks like an old Star Trek Vaseline on the lens trick. I mean, you're right. I just keep waiting for that antenna to go up for you guys, because I don't want to just show off blurry crap if I can help it, and I apologize for that. If there's anything you want to see again, we can always go back to it. I know I had pretty good signal up until we started taking more questions. Joe DeBecky has a good point. Hot Wheels is also not burdened by the same licensing fees by and large as the action figures we're talking about. Kieran Ball asking if Hot Wheels are made from metal or plastic these days. To my knowledge, the majority of them are made out of metal. Someone correct me if I'm wrong. Jerome Largo has dipped his foot into the 7-inch figures with Phantom, Flash Gordon, and Ming from NECA. Dun dun dun. So far, they haven't fallen apart. Maybe the quality control is getting better. It might be. I've heard slowly more positive things in that realm, but there's a lot of bad blood with NECA, so I don't know. Hopefully they're getting better. Hopefully. Bjorn saying that they're both metal and plastic for Hot Wheels. Depends upon the casting. There you go. Ian Sweeney has been wanting to start a Superman collection for a long time, and finally today ordered first graphic novel for £7. Not new, of course. Fair. It's awesome. So you're starting like just comics or comics and toys, and that's a great character to collect for, because there's a ton of them out there. Might I suggest the Superman from the Batman Hush line from Mafex? Worth the money. It's an amazing Superman figure. Joda Becky says Hot Wheels equals shipping, importing, and so forth. Far more volume container than figure lines. Exactly. They're getting more money, more bang for their buck. Ian Sweeney is going comics and toys. Amazing, fun times. When and if you do get to the Superpowers collection Superman, he's in high demand. Just keep your eye on it. Find something that's middling in the price with a good condition, because you'll see him as low as $20, as high as 80, depending upon the condition. If you're one of those, I need it to be all original, be prepared to pay a higher end of that at this point. But if you don't mind getting a reproduction cape, and I can give you a good dealer for that, you'll spend around $30 for $40 for a good Superman figure. If you need any help, let me know. Kieran asking if these are the newer versions of the Phantom and Flash Gordon. These just came out a few weeks ago, if my memory serves. Bill Wifta says, "Hey, Jim." I say, "Hey, Bill." And Bill, we're getting to that next part. I do love the Superpowers collection very, very much. It's not an especially Superman thing. I'm just always looking at prices because it's something that I just enjoy looking at the listings and seeing where the market is on them. So while the signal still appears to be good, I'm going to switch over to my pickups. And there's only two things to look at, but they're pretty big. So here we go. So just before I left for Retropalooza, I ordered via shipping at Target a Zuru Robo Alive Red Dragon, which I was tipped off to originally by Tony Roberts' Analog Toys channel. And I fell in love with that dragon. I love that dragon, and I've been keeping an eye on them at Target. They originally were around $22 US a piece. There's two different colors. There's the red one and the blue one. And the blue one has routinely been on sale. I hope that's not my car. It is not. The blue one has routinely been on sale for around $16, $17. And the red one has been full price. Out of nowhere, last week, or the week of Retropalooza, the week of my birthday, it was on sale for $7, $7.50, and I said, I have to get this. And also, on a tip from our very own Gojatron, I got that the Batman Batcave playset for $20. It was a car alarm, yes. Which is down from its $40. Now, both of these are back up in price. The sale is over, unfortunately. You can still get the Batcave for $40, which, judging sheerly on its size and the detail in what's in there, is still a good price. But for $20, it is a steal. And the dragon, it has fire breathing effects, but I do not believe it actually has smoke that comes out of it. It's meant for young children. And they walk around, and you'll see my Horde Trooper on the lower right. He looks like a miniature, doesn't he? He's not. He's the full 5.5-inch scale. I have another one right here, just to prove it's the same thing. All right, this is a 5.5-inch scale. It's the same thing. I just have them all posed funky over there, just to show you how massive these boxes are. Okay, and that's the only reason that he's there, is just to show scale of these boxes and how big they are. It's pretty interesting stuff. The dragon, he scales well with just about anything from Motu Origins on up to, you can probably get away with 6-inch scale as well. The Batcave, so it's a great question. The scale is a 4-inch scale, and the figures that come with are 4-inch as well. The main reason I purchased this was because I have seen pictures where it does scale extremely well with Superpowers collection. So it was something that I was like, well, that's a no-brainer. And again, for the price of $20, like, why wouldn't you? So this is a perfect kind of custom edition. Plus the figures that it comes with, if you're a fan of the movie, which I am, pretty nice figures. And you get a lot of accessories in there. I'll move the dragon and pull the playset up here for us. Trying to minimize that glare as much as I possibly can. But you get a bunch of stuff. You get the motorcycle. There's like a action feature on the arch in the back of the cave there, as well as you get a fully decostumizable Bruce Wayne Batman, which I think was really cool. Because normally you'd see some kind of a like you'd get just a really bare bones Batman with something like this, then you'd have to buy a separate Bruce Wayne Batman. And that's not the case with this set at all. You get a really decent, fully featured Batman with it. And why wouldn't you want that? Plus, you get like the Bat computer and his work desk and a bunch of accessories on there, like little pieces that move around and stuff. Plus, you get with the Penguin, you get his briefcase which has a separate like money insert thing, which is very, very cool. Could have been easy to just have a solid piece of plastic that opened and it just had a sticker, but this actually removable little brick of money. It's a pretty cool set. And Jim Largo is saying, ordered Batmobile from that line. Spin Masters did a great job. They really did. They really did. And yeah, the Horde Trooper was just for scale. That's all he was there for. Okay. Yeah, everything I can point to so far, it's just a great looking set. And if they were $20 online for shipping, you probably, if you see this in a Target, which you probably will, they're probably going to go on clearance pretty quickly. So I'm probably going to get myself another one if I can get one at the same price. But as of now, for shipping, they're back up to 40, which again, not a bad price. But I wouldn't mind having another one with a better box, which I would have to be in a store to get because there's a little dent on, which is pretty easy to just opening and playing with. So no harm, no foul. We're putting a full review out on this at some point. Now, the reason you're all actually here is to talk about superpowers and whether or not they're coming back. Before we go any further, everything I have to show you is not confirmed. Everything I've heard is rumor, and everything I have to say is nothing but conjecture. Okay? I want to be very clear about that. That said, this popped up over the weekend, and I couldn't ignore it anymore. I've been trying to ignore it. I don't like talking about rumors, but this is pretty cool, and a lot of people have asked me about this, so I want to say what I think. So here it is. This picture was revealed over the weekend through one Instagram account. They purport that they were contacted by the company and asked, and was told it was an early announcement on their part. Were asked to take it down, and they reposted it anyway. So, but I pulled the pictures for the sake of discussing it. I want to be very clear that I don't have any insider information. I don't have any access to any information anyone else, can't get to publicly, and I've talked to no one. But I want to talk about, the few possibilities here. And Bjorn is already saying it looks like a custom. I thought something very similar. This appears to be in the 4-inch scale, the card stock, shape. And if this is a Photoshop, it's a really good one because, it's a compressed image. I don't know if that's supposed to I don't get it. And I'm on the fence about this. I'm not inclined to believe it. What kind of turned me around was this. They're showing 3 figures and 2 vehicles. Now I've seen tell that these vehicles might just be photoshopped toys from previous lines. I can see that. It's interesting to say the least. And I'm not a fan that this isn't a classic design, but it is the new 52 Dark Side. And if this is a mock-up, it's a really good one. Because it's accurate to the old toy series in terms of the idea. It shows a lot of different things that I would expect to see on a McFarlane Toys release at DC Direct, because it's got the right logos in the right place. It's got copyrights. It's got the multilingual thing. So if someone went to this much trouble to make a fake, it's a pretty good one. And it does excite me a little bit. But this short run really concerns me. Because on one hand, I'm with Bill. I would want the vehicles if they're real. The toys, I don't particularly care about, but on the same token, if there's only going to be a total of 5, which if they do well, they'll probably make more, I would probably take the calculated risk of getting these 5 toys, just because I have so much love for the brand, and I feel really dirty about that. And these 3 figures are an odd choice, in my opinion. Very odd choice. But to have carded superpowers figures in today's day and age just up on the wall, I don't know, depending upon the price point, might be worth it. But if that price point is anywhere near what I think it's going to be, 10, 15, 20 bucks, it's going to be a hard sell. It's going to be a hard sell. Tim is asking me, feel dirty, meaning that I don't like it when companies will put things out and all of the risk is really on the collector at that point. For the simple fact that they're not investing in this. The original Superpowers Collection line came out in '84 with a huge ad campaign with just a slew of characters. 3 vehicles, Hall of Justice playset out the door, a fully realized toy line. If they'd have never released another figure or vehicle, they had a great setup there. And they did the second series, which was a great expansion. And then the third one, we all know how that goes. But to start this out and be a total of 5 toys, I don't know. It bugs me a little bit. Bjorn's wondering if this is a con exclusive. Others are saying maybe comic shops, perhaps. And Jim Salzberg says they're 20 each. Buy them, add to the collection. I mean, that's not for the vehicles. Yes, I would say. And Goodron says that McFarlane made the '66 Batmobile, so these vehicles are certainly possible. They wouldn't have any action features, just bare bones. I agree, and I think that if the molds look as good as these pictures do, I would be okay with that. But it's all conjecture. It's all rumor. And so forth. And Tim, that was a typo. He meant to not Tony. And yes, Tony has said that he is looking at starting to collect superpowers. And I think that that's that's Bobby's influence, because Bobby is heavy into these too. Will says that Spin Master is doing figures for the Black Adam movie. He saw Dr. Fate, Hawkman in a vehicle. They're cool. Don't have high hopes for the movie, but you'll take the toys. Yeah, I've seen those too. There's some interesting stuff. I do like the idea. If this is real, I like the packaging. It's faithful to the old stuff without being, it's modernized, but not so bad. It looks good. I like the idea, and we'll see. We'll see. Is really what it comes down to. So I would love for them to just double down and put out the whole line, or just even just 6, characters. No, Tim, you're good to go to the bathroom. That's all there is. That's the only images that look even remotely legitimate that I've seen. That's all there is. And it came out this weekend, and I had a ton of messages from various sources saying, "Dude, did you see that?" Yes, I saw it. And it was something where I was like, okay, I want to at least comment on it and talk about my feelings on the subject and kind of go from there. So, do I think that, Superpowers is coming back in earnest? No, I don't. I think that these might come out. They might. And if they do, they'll do pretty well on the market, and they might throw a few more figures out there. But I don't see these being like the next big thing. I don't think they're going to get to anywhere near the levels of popularity that the original line did. And I'm not saying that because I hope it'll fail. I just don't think it'll happen. I just don't think it'll happen. If these come out as they're showing in these images, I think if we're lucky, we'll get all the stuff that's on the back, and that'll probably be it for a while. I don't think we're going to get a full line. And if we do, it's not going to be the line that we want. Like, we're not going to get another Holo Justice. We're not going to get. They're not going to just do a new 52 send up of the old series, because if they were, series 1 would be very different looking, and it would be interesting. The opportunity that I see here, if they are, and this is an if, because we don't know this for sure, but if they are keeping it in that 4-inch scale, there's a huge opportunity for them to do vehicles for the line that don't exist, that are relatively simple, like the Invisible Jet, for example. I would buy the hell out of a clear plastic jet for Wonder Woman in 4-inch scale. You could see like a motorcycle for Robin, because he was big on motorcycles back in the day. I would love to see that. You might see a bat cycle. You might see, that jet ski that Aquaman had. Things like that. Those would be pretty smart bets. If you have them in the 4-inch scale, they're officially licensed, and they have the Superpowers logo on them, fly off the shelf, dude. Fly off the shelf. And the Joker Mobile that was featured in the comics, yeah. I don't think they're that smart. I don't think they're going to do that. I would love to see that. And Carl says McFarlane Justice Jogger. If they made it, I would buy it because it would be a decent price, and I would say, here, I have a box Justice Jogger. And that would be the end of the conversation. Like, I would actually buy it. I would, like, unironically, like, here, now I have one. Shut up. Kind of a thing. Roman at Cardboard says it's been listening on the drive home. Agree that the small number of figures for any toy line is a letdown. Yep, that's definitely a thing. Bjorn, not making a pun, says that if Superpowers comes back, it'll be a flash in the pan. Wah, wah. Will McLaughlin is all in on the Spin Master Batman and DC stuff, with the exception of some variants. Have them all and love them. Yeah, I'm curious as to why Spin Master's not the one to be doing this, to be perfectly honest. And I would agree with Roman at Cardboard. I'd want the core Justice League, at least. That would be nice. And Jim Salzberg says he wouldn't Kickstarter them, but he would pre-order. So would I. Bill Wifta would also get an Invisible Jet, and asked if I saw the Robin cycle that you found through Powers. I don't think so. If it's in your blog, there was one that you found that you could just put in and it worked real well. If that's the one you're talking about, yes, I saw it. And I looked online for it for a little bit and got disappointed with how much it cost. But yes, if that's the one you're referring to where he's like, I found this was perfect. Da, 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 da. Yeah, I did see that in the blog. If it's something new, no, I haven't seen it. But I find it really disappointing that they're not. It's like a, hey, it's super. It's so small. And Jim Salzberg, with the very generous super chat, thank you very much, says, I wish they were a match scale to little superpowers. Dig them. 4-inch scale would match all the Batmans. Yes. I think they'd be close in scale. They look to be similar in scale, if not the same. But if they're not scaling to the old superpowers, that's a really big problem. Especially when you consider that Spin Masters did that. Like, it's pretty crazy. And McFarlane's scale stuff is all over the shop as it is, and such a pain. Oh my God, I haven't seen an Invisible Jet anywhere. Bum, 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 bum. That's funny. It's funny. It's a good joke. I like that. Just also said, if you're looking for a Robin cycle from Kenner or the Robin dragster that was made from the Joker cycle, I'll let you know when I find it. Oh, yes. Yes, quite. Yes. Thank you. That's pretty cool. There's a lot of different stuff out there. Because that's part of what I love about the Superpowers collection and the whole Kenner approach to the line. They had all those subsequent Batman lines that were in the exact same scale, and you can mix and match a ton of stuff like the Batcave and everything else. And it would be really cool to get one of those legacy Batcave, Wayne Manor Batcaves, combine it with the Batcave from Spin Masters, and make some really cool, sprawling playset. That's the scale. That's kind of the dream. At least for me. I think it's a pretty cool prospect. But if these do actually come out and the price is decent, I will probably get them. Not only because they are superpowers, right? But also because it's nice of them to even try, to be perfectly honest. And I would like to have them. Period. The vehicles alone are probably worth taking a dig in here. Yes, Karen Ball. Funko did make a Wonder Woman Invisible Jet set not long ago. But I seem to recall it being like its own scale. Like it doesn't work with anything. I remember it though. It's like a weird set. You correct me if I'm wrong, but it didn't seem like it was of particular note beyond it being, oh, it's an invisible jet, But in any case, I think that there's potential here, but there's a lot of potential here, not just for the toys themselves, but there's a lot of potential for this to just fall flat on its face. And I don't know how far the brand is going to carry, especially, this is the problem, right? If they put out just a mess of newly branded Superpowers toys, if they don't scale, you're losing part of your market. If they do scale, it's in a scale that is not popular, so it might fail that way. So it kind of comes down to, how do you please everyone at the same time, Because for Superpowers collectors, this would be cool to add in the collection, and there's a lot of money in those people's pockets. Die hard Superpowers collectors will spend a lot of money for this stuff, and they'll get anything, right? So it's something where I feel like it's a good idea. I would love to see them be taking the risk, but I understand why they didn't. We'll see what happens. That's more or less where my head's at. We will see what happens. I really don't know. And Bill Wifta, with an excellent point, and I'm in the same boat, says, if my superpower Superman won't fit in the Supermobile, then it's a deal breaker. Agreed. 100% agreed. If those vehicles don't scale, no sale across the entire line. That's it. I want the vehicles. I hope they scale, and I'll buy the figures as a bonus to support the endeavor. That's kind of where my head is. But if these vehicles don't scale, not buying any of it. Bjorn asks if I think they'd go the Origins route and just re-release everything. No, I don't. I wish that they would. I would love to see a re-release of the entire Superpowers line, minus the action figures, and maybe a little bit more articulation. That would be a slam effing dunk. But again, I don't think they're that smart. Jim Largo is right. We need to invent a Wayback Machine and make an 80s shopping trip. You're right. I would love that. Would love nothing more than to go into like mid 1986 and just dump everything into a shopping cart and just drop money, like keep the change and shit. Be amazing. Exactly. Jim Salzberg's right. Superpowers doesn't have as wide a fan base as He-Man does, I mean, you should really look, like, I've made this point before. There's very few YouTube channels that have a strong presence with regard to Superpowers collection. It doesn't have the staying power in terms of content that most do. There's not that many toys in the line. It's a very finite line, which is not a bad thing. It makes them very collectible. But they just didn't have the reach. They were very popular for a very short period of time and then fizzled out. He-Man lasted a lot longer and has come back in various forms for the better part of the entire time that has elapsed since they originally were released. Superpowers, you get a nod here and there with the jumbo figures and the minis, and it's like, who was that for? Who was that? I didn't even hear about it until they were finished making them. And granted, I wasn't avidly toy collecting, but if there was anything that was going to get me into it, if someone said, "Dude, there's superpowers figures out again," I probably would have started collecting right then and there. But I didn't, because the marketing was so trash on them. I didn't even hear about them in passing. Kind of crazy to think about. Yeah, and I think all of us want to go back in time and grab toys in video games. Of course. Of course. Be amazing. Be so cool. Ben Steltley. The invisible jet sounds like a pet rock kind of moneymaker. It would save plastic too. Like, oh, I see. Yeah, just a box that says invisible jet on it, superpowers, and there's nothing in there. Yeah, that would be kind of funny. I think people have even done mock-up boxes for that exact purpose. Jim Salzberg says even the superpower figures Mattel did in 6-inch weren't a slam dunk. Exactly. I didn't even hear about them. Didn't see them anywhere. It would have been really easy for me to just go and just grab them, but nope. Jesse Hughes, the Epic Badger, is here in the house. Hi to you too, sir. Nice to see you. Your comic shop has a bunch of the jumbo figures, and they're probably pretty expensive because, again, they weren't easy to get a hold of when they were brand new. Kieran Ball says, sadly, thanks to the DCEU and the current DC comic books, DC heroes are just not of interest to new customers. You're right. They're for us old guys and gals. Woman of Cardboard says, when Mattel lost the DC license, it wasn't much later until we saw the He-Man resurgence. Because they were like, well, we can do this. We know this will work. And Woman of Cardboard with facts. In the current state of things, I don't think we'll ever see an invisible jet. And I don't think he's joking this time. I really don't think that we're going to see... If they're going to... Like, I think if they were to go, like, slightly left of center kind of a way to do it would be to release a bunch of vehicles that never got released in the line and put out some figures that we never got, and then a couple, like, do an Origins treatment to it, and I think it would be a lot more popular. I think it would be very cool, Jesse Hughes says, do you know what never needs to come back because it's always popular? That like button on Jim's stream. Oh, I mean, sometimes it needs to come back. Sometimes it needs some help. It's a thing, But I do feel like there's potential in the toy line, and I think that they're struggling with what to do with the IP because they don't want to like show their butt and then lose a ton of money on it, so they're going small, which is a smart business decision. But if people don't buy it, it's like they're doing it small to minimize risk, but it's a big risk because people are less likely to buy it because it is a smaller line. There's no thing. And Jim Seltzer says the He-Man was about trying to get the most out of the IP while it's still free for them next year, 2024. They have to pay for it. There you go. Bill Wifta has yet to see an invisible jet toy that really works with superpowers. Wonder Woman, same. And Jim Largo agrees we definitely need a Joker mobile in the new superpowers line. Yes, really do. Joe DeBecky asked if they pumped out an invisible jet for Wonder Woman 84. I didn't hear about it. I didn't hear about any toys from that, actually. I'm sure there were some made, but in terms of it being like, ooh, look at that. Because I did see a few figures like in the 7-inch range for that, but I didn't see any vehicles at all. Laser jet transparency film. Ooh, it's interesting. Jim Salzberg saying, nope, they didn't make Invisible Jet. Well, there you go, unfortunately. It's something that, like, to those of us that care about it, we think it would be a slam dunk business-wise. That's not necessarily the case. Part of the reason you can still get most of the superpowers line at a relatively decent cost is that there isn't that big of an aftermarket for it. Not really, right? I'm not complaining about that in the sense of like, I love that people can get a Hall of Justice if they're patient, complete, for about $150. It's reasonable for a vintage toy of that complexity and relative rarity. I enjoyed the hunt for it because it wasn't crazy. Um, and, you know, but there's only so many people. Like, there are people that when I mention that I'm into Superpowers collection, they'll look me dead in the face and ask me what it is. They don't remember. They're the same age, around the same age. They're like, "What? What was that?" Because it was something that you have to come to terms with the idea that these were not. They don't have the staying power in the collective cultural consciousness that He-Man does in terms of a toy line, or that Ninja Turtle does in terms of a toy line. Um, and so many other properties are really popular now because we didn't have decent toy lines for them back in the day. Like Marvel, there wasn't very many good Marvel figures out in the wild back in the day. You had Mego and you had Secret Wars. That's about it, which isn't saying much. Yeah, the Clark Kent figure's not horrible to find. Just finding him in good condition at a decent price, but he's pretty. You can find him. You can find him. Bill Wifta says, I have an invisible jet that'd be perfect if it was scaled up. There you go. Go to Toronto's Mego made an invisible jet for Comic Action Heroes line in the late 70s. I seem to remember that. It was an interesting thing, like they didn't shy away from it back in the day, but it was like kind of stubby, wasn't it? To hold in that larger figure. Dun, 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 dun. Warren Corbett says Wonder Woman 84 had a bunch of 12-inch fashion doll figures. Of course they did. Why wouldn't they have something that's, kind of insulting and hard to market? It's a weird thing. Meanwhile, in the Batman, which is nearly a rated R film, it's just a few cuss words away from being a rated R film, and yet you can walk into a Target and buy a playset of the Batcave. Like, I like that there are manufacturers that are taking these risks, and I hope that it pays off for them. I really do. Ted, welcome to the stream, sir. Jesse says, my idea of a visible jet, a 1/18 scale F-117. See the U.S. Air Force logo, U.S. Air Force landing or one. Yeah, that's fair. That makes sense. It's a good idea. He's just invisible. Invisible. I want it to be invisible. It's true. Dun, 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 dun. Joe DeBecky says, Mego Comic Action Heroes DC figures rocked Marvel except for Green Goblin. I mean, there wasn't a horrible Green Goblin. It's okay. It's the only Green Goblin we had for a long time, right? Dun, 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 dun. And everyone's making fun of poor Jesse's typo, but we all have made typos in here, so let's be nice. Let's be nice to Jesse. He's very good to all of you. His banhammer does not swing very often. Be nice to him. Thank you. When you look at Trendmasters and what they're doing with the Batman, which arguably is a harder sell than a Superpowers line in some ways, in as much as that's not a family-friendly movie at all. Yet they put out a toy line that's clearly aimed at children. Or they put out a toy line that looks like it was made for children, knowing that collectors would pick it up. Either way, it's a pretty cool line. And Sully says, shameless Star Trek quote, transparent aluminum, would that be worth something to you, laddie? Transparent aluminum? Would that be worth something to you, laddie? And it's okay for me to do that because James Doohan was Canadian, doing a horrible Scottish accent. So me doing a horrible impression of his horrible impression of a Scottish accent is totally okay. So, and since it's within my grasp, we're going to get a closer look at this Dragoon. Because why not, right? It's got a bunch of action features on him. Realistic neck movement, and he walks like he's motorized, walks, which is cool. He has a roar and fire breathing effects, which I don't even know what those are. I think they're just lights. Real biting action. You can move his wings, and they're big wings. You can't really see, but they're pretty big. So this is a good stand-in for the Black Star Dragon that I don't have. In as much as like he's the right scale, he looks cool, it's motorized. I still want one of those, but it's pretty close, and it's much more robust than that dragon ever was. So between that and the ice version, which is just that, but in a blue, an ice blue, like that'll be, it's pretty cool. I don't know when he came out. He's been out for a while because Tony's video on that dragon is at least close to a year old, if not over a year old. He is a great dragon, isn't he? The blue one, though, I'm eventually going to get. Probably might get one. I'll just get one because he's only $17. That's one of the few things I would actually want. And Jesse's like, that's the Dungeons and Dragons toy we all wanted. Yes. Big G. Does he have voice sounds? Does he sound like Sean Connery? No, I don't think so. I don't think he does. Be funny if he did. Big giant dragon. Yes. Yeah, he's a big boy. Like, you can put, a He-Man figure on his neck and just kind of ride around town. Like, it's a big toy. And for $7? You kidding me? It's great. This is great accent. Ben says, great accent. Scotsman missing an eye and aluminum. No, the person who says that in that particular context in Star Trek 4 is American. He goes, transparent aluminum? And that's when the guy goes, would that be worth something to you, laddie? Like that. Like, that's how it's delivered. Swear to Godzilla. That's how it is. Because aluminium, no. And even James Doohan wouldn't have said it like that because he's Canadian. Worldman of Cardboard with some support says, I would have bought that dragon for $7 as well. Yes. And even now, at full price, he's still 25% off of retail. He's $15. So you can walk into a Target, most Targets, and grab him off the shelf for $15. Or get him shipped for that price. It's not bad for what he is. For his size, $15 is still a really good price, I think. Ian Sweeney says, do not meddle in the affairs of dragons, for thou art crunchy and go well with ketchup. Yes. Hey, no worries, Jim. Thanks for being here. Appreciate you. Love you, brother. Talk soon. He said, I stand corrected. You're absolutely right. I know I am, but I'm glad that you recognize it. Kieran Ball says, the fire-breathing effect is a red light bulb in his throat. There you go. But given it's an LED light, they're pretty bright. And I'll eventually pull them out and put some batteries in them. I think he takes double A's. Well, let's look. Ugh. What's he take? It's on the front. 3 AA batteries. Okay. 3 AAA batteries, which I happen to have a lot of rechargeable AAA batteries. So that's good. That means that I don't have to worry about like a battery budget because I have all these rechargeable AAA batteries. I only ever use 4 at a time. And that's why I'm using my wireless pack, which is only when I'm filming feature videos. So plenty of batteries for that guy. World Made Cardboard says there's a video on YouTube where they have made transparent aluminum for real. And they even mention the scene from Star Trek 4. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. It's a smart idea, that's for sure, right? But to loop back around to our top story ever so briefly before we go into the Q&A before the end of the show, I like that they're trying this. In theory, I hope that it's real. I also hope there's more figures coming. And I hope that everything scales. But if it doesn't scale with old superpowers, they're going to lose what little market they have, in my opinion. All right. So this is the part of the show where we'll just give you guys about 15 minutes to ask questions about anything. Anything we talked about, anything we've talked about in the past, or just anything you want to ask me in general. No worries. Otherwise, we'll just hang out till we hit the 90-minute mark. You know how it goes. Jesse says, I missed everything, but I hope for whatever you're hoping for. Well, I'll show you again. It's not going to hurt me. So there's been a big rumor that Superpowers is going to get a new release of sorts. And at one point, the comic book ones that they had, the comic puncher thing, it was like, oh, well, that must have been what they meant. And then these pictures surfaced over the weekend and kind of serves to substantiate the rumor that there's Superpowers collection coming out. Gojitron asks, have you opened your final faction toys yet? No, I have not, sir. I have not, and I'm horrible. You're right. I still got to get down to the box. I haven't been down to the box since the last time I was there. And I need to get in there. Bill Wifta says, for the Q&A, should I save Stone Cold to open in live stream or play with him now? That's a rough one. As long as you save the card back, I say open him now. That's what I say. Take a picture, take several good pictures of them before you open them up, and then you got the best of both worlds. But don't deprive yourself of the toy. Jesse Hughes asked, didn't McFarlane release some 5-inch DC characters with comics? Yes. Is this similar in size? We don't know. The hope is that they'll scale to 4-inch the way the old Superpowers collection did, but we don't know. Jim Largo asked, how much wood would a woodchuck chuck if a woodchuck could chuck wood? A lot. Jesse says, if I saw a woodchuck with an axe, I'd shoot that sentient bugger. Fair. Now, speaking of diorama fodder, I did come across something in a Reddit post or a video or something. A Facebook group. I don't remember where I found it. I found it last night, and I shared it with Monsignor Largo here because I just thought it was really cool. But it's a really nifty idea. Let me show you. So this is a Penplax. This is meant for aquariums, basically. And this one scales to, about a 6-inch scale. You can get larger ones, different layouts and different sizes and stuff. So like the extra large one here and the large one, I think would be really cool in particular. And for the cost of, less than $25, it's just a cool thing. Get a couple of them, paint them different and stuff like that. But I thought it was really interesting, and I wanted to share it with you before I forgot. So this is, again, for the price, it's kind of cool because it's pre-painted. It's pretty sturdy. Because this is meant for live creatures to stand on. You know what I mean? It's got some real potential for what it is. And whoever tipped me off to this, thanks. I don't remember where I saw it. I don't remember. And in general, aquarium stuff is good for that sort of a thing. But this was just so neat that I wanted to share it with you all. Bill already uses aquarium stuff. There you go. Just uses for trees. I've gone to Petco and bought cork trees for the reptile aquarium sets. This is the same aisle. There you go. Yeah. And again, something that straightforward, relatively inexpensive, gives you a little bit of, extra stuff. So I would probably get a couple of those, integrate that with like Grayskull or something. Do some things. I mean, even the figure stands that I have kind of a rock look to them without being too textured. This is pretty cool. Squiggles says, "How you doing, Jim?" "I'm doing good, Squiggles. How are you, sir?" "That's what she said." Well, the reason it's not letting you post the link is because links are, unless you're a moderator, you can't post a link. But if you give me the search term, I will pull it up and post the link for you. Absolutely. Or if you want to PM it to me through Instagram or something. You need to make a big tree for a future video? Need to make me a big trunk, what he says. What he said. But Swiggles is doing good now that he's home from work. I mean, fair enough. But I do find that these two, Jesse took care of it for us. Well, wait, what's this? This is not that. What is this? What did you post, sir? Oh, you posted the same link over again. Fair enough. Fair enough, sir. Whee! But I do find that like the stuff that I got is an interesting kind of a take on scale, because you have this gigantic dragon that towers over 6-inch scale figures, then a 4-inch scale Trendmaster's Batman that was released this year. It's kind of nuts. But all these places can do cool stuff. It says, look up transparent aluminum from the Wonder World channel. Okay. I can do that, and I'll happily post a link if I find it. Wonder World transparent aluminum. Ah, there we go. There you go. Posted for all of your pleasures. Different pleasures. Listen to their screams, child. Listen to the music of their agony. Name that movie. Ideas for miscellaneous crates and other items to populate Rebel Base Starship Hangar Diorama. There's a lot of stuff out there that, they're just like unpainted miniature crates. You could probably do that. What I would suggest, honestly, you'd have to find like children's like blocks, like the smooth ones, and then maybe that are the right size, because they're going to be inexpensive because they're children's toys, right? So find a good cheap dollar store bag of those, prime them up, and paint them, to look more like crates for like a Rebel Base Starship kind of thing. So if you don't mind doing that work, I think that's probably going to be your easiest way to do it. Otherwise, you could do what's readily available in crate. So this is just like this is a die, and for 3 3/4 scale, this is not going to be big enough. But it could be a good base for using clay. So if you were to take this, just use it as a center point to build something up with clay, you could do that. 3D printing is always an option when all else fails. I'm trying to look around to see any household item that might fit the bill. And I don't have anything like that, but there's a few things you could do. Bill, with another thing I was thinking about, which is print them on cardstock, cut them out, fold them together. Plenty of things you could find for that as well. I think it's a good idea, because if you could get it designed in Photoshop, or someone has a design, you've got your paint already done. You just glue them together. And you could even fill them up with something to make them more solid if you wanted to. Ben Sully says, just as a quick nerd tech question, when your video gets blurry, your comment overlays are still crisp. Yeah, so what it is, no. So here's what it comes down to. My connection to StreamYard goes low because my connection is waning. However, all the comments come from the StreamYard side of things, and they are broadcasting this to YouTube. So anything they have on their comment-wise is going to always stay nice and crisp because it's coming from their source. So the source of my video is my internet connection. The source of the text. So everything's coming from StreamYard to you. But if my video going to StreamYard is blurry, which, sometimes I'm going to have this problem. Not often, but sometimes. That's why. And Wilmer Carbart's currently working on his own version of printing them out. There you go. Jesse Hughes with a good point as well. Bought some cheap click-and-play sets from Amazon, great for Joe displays. However, the cost went up. Maybe watch when the price drops again. Yes. There was a time when you can get one of their huge play sets for like $30, and it had like a bunch of stuff in it. Would be a thing. It would be a thing. I would love to have them myself. I've looked at them several times and I'm like, oh, I like these. Did no one guess that movie that I did? No. No one guessed the movie, child. That's fine. It's okay. Y'all don't like Wishmaster, it's fine. I love Wishmaster, it's fine. So, but yeah, the short version, because Joe's calling this out too. I transmit my sound and camera to StreamYard, who then take all of their stuff, add it in, and then transmit all of that to the platforms that I want. But if my connection to StreamYard is lacking, right, that's why my video is blurry, but all their in-house things are okay. It is indeed Wishmaster, sir. It is. Yes. And he has that lovely serpentine voice. It's an amazing film that is so cheesy and wonderful. For anyone who has seen that movie, that's a dead fucking on impression. Dead on. Fight me. I am pretty good at his voice. And I would love to play that character. It'd be amazing to play that character. But they killed the franchise because they're dumb. They're stupid. Because the first one was, the first two were really good, and then 3 and 4 just horrible. Horrible. But I have them all because they're cheaper to buy when you buy them all together. Ozzy's like, I don't want to fight you though. That's fair. That is wise. You like cheesy? This is a good one. Like the first one is semi-serious, but the guy's chewing the scenery something hardcore. The first one's worth a watch for sure. The others are basically, if you want to just do a marathon of all 4 films and just start drinking about midway through the first one, the beer should serve you well by the time you get to the 4th one. That's for sure. Woman in Cardboard says, one click and play playset I saw had a guy posed in front of a map. His back was to the map. The way his arms were posed, it looked like he was trying to hide the map from everyone looking in. Don't look at it. You'll fight me at chess or Mario Kart? It's been a long time since I played chess, so you'd probably beat me there. In Mario Kart, I don't have a lot of practice in it. It depends upon the system that you're on. If it's SNES, 50-50. If it's on the Wii, definitely you'll win because I've never played it on the Wii or the Wii U. On the Switch, if I get a day or two to practice ahead of time, I'd probably be okay. Probably. But I've only played it on the Switch once, and I was okay at it. It was okay. I'm not a whiz at these things. I'm not perfect. So, all that said, got a couple of videos I'm looking at getting done this week. And then obviously we'll be back for the stream on Monday with any news of the day. I'm thinking about a way that you guys can submit news to me ahead of time. There's a few ways it could be done. I'm not 100% on which one I'm going to go with yet, because I don't want to have to search. Because my concern is that if you use a hashtag on, Instagram or Twitter or even Facebook, that I'll miss it. So I'd prefer for you guys to be able to find a way to direct it to me and then go from there. But there's also an aspect of it with regards to promoting the show. So I am not 100% yet on that. So when I have that ready to go, I will let you know. But for now, if you just want to reach out to me through social media, please do so. If there's something you want to hear me talk about on the show, go for it. Because I don't want this always to be about what I'm into or what I think is notable. Maybe there's things you want me to talk about, and I'd be happy to do that within reason. Jesse Hughes says, Google Sheets. Share the link, let people post updates and news for you to review. I thought about that. I don't like that idea for the simple fact that I do that for work, and I don't want the stream to remind me of my job. That's the only reason. I know it's irrational. Ted says, "Oh, that she got cut from the new Aquaman. I mean, it doesn't surprise me at all. But in any case, we are at the end of the stream, folks. Thank you all for your time and for your enthusiasm, your discussion, and your generosity. I really appreciate it. It makes all the difference in the world. It's why I continue to do this every Monday. I like the idea of keeping in touch with you guys, and it's the best way I know how to do that. So thank you for that. And Kieran Ball, a very kind note that says, even a blurry Grindhead Jim live stream is still an awesome live stream. Take care, everyone. I agree. Hope you all have a great week. We'll see you soon, and I wish you the very best. Have a great, great day and a great week. Good night.